Welcome to the Wisdom of Age. One of the most frequently asked questions, especially by Christians, that is it wrong to ask God for confirmation? And does asking for confirmation indicate that you do not trust God? Well, here's the answer. Let's look at 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 1 to 11. We meet King Hezekiah, and verse 1 tells us that he's ill and he makes a prayer to God. Before he even makes a prayer to God, in his illness, King Isaiah tells him one of the statements that when you hear, you know very well that time for you to pack and leave is that Isaiah tells him, put your house in order. And when you hear that statement, it means you need to prepare your family because you're about to leave to the other side of life. And so King Hezekiah in verse 2 to 3 reminds God of how he has faithfully walked before him so that God may extend his life. And as we see from verse 4 to 6, as Isaiah was just about to leave, like on the outer courts, can say that he was almost at the gate walking out. The word of the Lord comes to him, and he comes back to King Hezekiah and tells him that God will extend his life by an additional 15 years. So King Hezekiah, in a desire to be sure this is what God has said, he asks for a sign. And you see that the sign is that I can refer to it from verse 9. It says that, no, from verse 8. Hezekiah said to Isaiah, what shall be the sign that the Lord will heal me, and that I shall go up into the house of the Lord on the third day? And you see, verse 9, Isaiah said that this is the sign to you from the Lord, that he will do the thing he has promised. Like, this is the sign that the Lord will do what he has promised. Is that the shadow, denoting the time of day, go forward 10 steps or go back 10 steps. Hezekiah answered, it is an easy matter for the shadow to go forward 10 steps. So let the shadow go back 10 steps. Like, let the shadow do the unthinkable, because there's a normal way that the clock moves. If you have time, you can go and research on how the people of the olden days, they used to check on time. They used to be around surface, and then something that is shaped like a triangle that is put on 12 o'clock. Then as the sun moves, you will be able to know now it's 3, now it's 7. They will be able to study the shadow. So it's like he was asking God to take the clock anti-clockwise. You get? So Isaiah the prophet cried to the Lord, and he brought the shadow the 10 steps backward, by which it had gone down on the sandal of Ahaz. So this is the lesson that we get here, and you see also Gideon did the same thing when he did the fleece test. Asked God that when I come in the morning, I want to see that this sponge has water but the sides is dry, and when I come the next morning, I want the sponge to be dry and the sides to have waters. I know most of the time preachers do tell us this, or pastors do. Some pastors do say that, when you keep asking God for a sign, it means you do not have faith. No, but God is faithful enough and patient enough to confirm a matter to you over and over and over, so that you may be at the center of his will. The lesson is this, that do not ever be in a space where you walk in unsurety of the voice of God. And the thing is this, if you look at the life of Jesus, even before he was born, prophecy after prophecy was released that a Messiah is coming until his time came. So, even in your situation, if you've indeed heard God about a matter, and if you are not sure if you've heard God about a matter, be sure to check out the signs. And one of the things that may hinder you from obedience actually is that if you are praying from a place of you are already emotionally attached to that thing which you are asking God for. And so when God speaks to you or gives a sign that is contrary to what you think you had, because it's easy to hear God about a matter when your heart is fully given into it. That's why normally I do recommend to people, you just take a fast of 3 days, because those 3 days is not really that you want to show God that you're really serious, but it's so that you kill that desire and be able to prepare your heart in a way that you can take an answer that is either or, you get. So it's easy for you to hear God in a matter that you've already put your emotion into it. So one of the things that we need to learn from the passage of Hezekiah is that it's not a bad thing to ask for confirmation. So keep asking God for confirmation over what he has spoken. Even if you hear this word, you hear a prophecy through a pastor, you hear a prophecy through a friend, because God can use anything to speak to you. Always seek for confirmation before you go. And the purpose of seeking confirmation is not just to show that it's not to show that you doubt God. No, it's because you want to be sure and to be centered in His will. This is the wisdom of age, and I'll see you on the next one.